Hi everyone, Meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center for our Saturday edition of our 19 at 6 weekend weather show. It's available wherever you stream, including on YouTube as well as on Facebook, both the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. We got a lot to dive into. Before we do that, let's take a live look at radar and satellite here. As you can see, we are looking at some rain, moderate to heavy rain, beginning to move into portions of the Fox 19 now viewing area, particularly our southern counties over towards Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, Robertson counties. That moderate to heavy rain already beginning to move in, and we will be looking at more widespread rain as we go into this evening and tonight. So hi everyone, Meteorologist Ethan Emery here. Got a lot to get into, but I do want to show you your forecast first. That way if you got plans this evening and tonight, you can do so accordingly. I just showed you radar. That's what's beginning to move in. It's a first hot weather day for tonight as well as Sunday because we're looking at that impactful weather. The heavy rain moving in tonight as well as the snow moving in on Sunday. In addition to that, gusty winds and cold conditions as well. So here is your forecast first. Again, we do this every single time on 19 at 6. It's my promise to you to let you get that first alert forecast of tonight, tomorrow, and the 7-day forecast in the first couple of minutes. And then we'll get moving into more details on the rain tonight and the snow tomorrow. So overnight tonight, temperatures are going to dive down to around 36 degrees by daybreak. But then tomorrow, temperatures are going to fall steadily through the day, down to 28 degrees by the evening. And yes, we are looking at snow showers moving in as well. Now, the accumulations still be minor, but they have increased just a little bit for our northwestern locations. For President's Day on Monday, mostly cloudy, 25 degrees. And then we're looking at another pattern moving in. Could bring us some minor snow accumulations perhaps on Wednesday. In addition to that, cold conditions. Highs will be in the low 20s. Lows will be in the teens. And then by next weekend, things will begin to dry out. Variably cloudy for our Friday with a high of 29. And then by Saturday, we get up to above freezing at 33 degrees. So the takeaway here, downright cold because on Sunday morning, we'll be above freezing at 36. We won't reach above freezing all the way until Saturday afternoon. So a very brutally cold forecast in store for Sunday onward here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So that is your forecast first. Again, I always try to give that to you for the first couple of minutes before we dive into all the madness that is this first alert forecast for tonight and Sunday. So here is the latest. What we've got here is the first alert forecast not changing very much. Heavy rain for tonight, 2 to 3 inches of rain moving in, even locally higher amounts than that for our southern and southeastern counties. And then when it comes to the snow moving in on Sunday, generally less than 2 inches, though there could be a local spot higher than that to our north and western counties. And then in addition to that, windy. Looking at wind gusts on Sunday, close to 40 miles per hour. So we're just going to give it right to you here, to the timeline. So what are we expecting all this stuff to happen? Well, the biggest impacts are going to be tonight. So if you live near a creek, near a stream, near a river, like if you're close by to it, if you live in a low-lying area or an area prone to flooding, it's going to be really important to have ways to receive alerts. The First Alert Weather app, one tool, but multiple alerts is always a good option too, like a weather radio. In the event of a flash flood, you can't rule that out with this scenario here. The grounds are already saturated. Yeah, it's been really light rain today, kind of foggy, kind of misty, but the ground temperatures are above freezing and it's really muddy. And it's not growing season, so there's no vegetation to feed off of that moisture quite as well, especially when it's coming down at a clip as if it's going to be tonight, to where that water is forced to run off and sit and cause issues. So biggest impacts will be tonight. Then we go into Sunday. I've actually increased the impact a little bit for Sunday because we are looking at a big burst of snow primarily in the morning. So we are looking at potentially a moderate band of snow developing. It won't be long-lived, but if you are traveling Sunday morning, it is going to create some slowdowns. The accumulations, though they're light, still going to create some slick spots out there. In addition, it'll be blustery with wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, especially Sunday afternoon. And when you have the snow shower activity moving in the afternoon, it's going to be a lot lighter. It's not looking like heavy snow on Sunday afternoon. It'll just be light snow showers. In fact, accumulations are very little to none because it's going to be very dry snowflakes that come down. However, with the winds and those snow showers, visibility will be reduced and it'll be cold. Temperatures in the evening in the upper 20s with feels like temperatures in the teens. And then we go into President's Day. Monday morning, wind chills could be close to 0 in some spots. It'll be breezy, but once daybreak occurs, the winds won't be as big of an issue. But the good news is that there are going to be no snow showers on President's Day. Nice to have that at least. So that is the latest timeline here of what we got. We'll show the maps and everything else here coming up in a couple of minutes. I want to show you a few cameras here in and around Cincinnati Metro because we are looking at a lot of fog, light rain out there right now. In fact, this is recent. This is, I had this aimed where you could see things a lot better. This would be Queen City Boulevard, but you can't see it. There's one of our Fox 19 towers right next to our tower camera, so you can't really see anything. Switch it over to our Newport Levee camera. I didn't want to show this one because you just really can't see much of anything. Well, it's better than the other one at least now. But you can see here, again, low clouds, fog, and those showers are beginning to move in. It's 41 degrees this hour, so temperatures are going to be steady over the next several hours here. We switch it now over to our Turfway Park camera. It's beginning to rain out there pretty good. You can kind of see the downpour showing up now on the lights. And it looks like the folks on the track there are having a maybe not so great time with all that rain coming down. And then lastly, let's take a look at our Mount Auburn camera, which does have a lot of raindrops on the camera lens, but you can see traffic moving nice and smooth along I-71 there and McMillan Street. They're crossing over towards Walnut Hills. So pretty cloudy, gloomy evening here across the tri-state area. And let's switch it over to radar because I did show you radar a moment ago, or at the very top of 19atSIX. And that moderate to heavy rain that we're talking about, it's coming. I know today was kind of a light rain, maybe underwhelming to some, but it will be arriving here. In fact, we're already beginning to see the potential for that heavy rain lifting into portions of Robertson County, Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, Mason counties here. And this is aided by a warm front. So there's a warm front here, and it could bump temperatures up down there to the upper 40s to our southern counties here. But we are going to zoom this out a bit more because this thing has had a history of producing a lot of flooding conditions. In fact, if we switch this over to this, if it loads, there we go. So if you can see this, let me try to move the camera just a little bit. So we don't have any warnings right now. We do have a flood watch and we do have a winter storm or winter weather advisory, excuse me. Don't want to speak that into existence. But what we have here are flash flood warnings south of the Fox 19 Now viewing area. In fact, it's southern Kentucky, southern West Virginia, western Virginia, northern Tennessee, into western Kentucky. A lot of different colors here to observe. The bright green is where the flash flood warning is. The colors outside the box indicate other things. So if it's this bright shade of green, that means it's radar indicated flash flooding. If you see the dark green, that means it's observed. So somebody reported a flash flood. Areas in white, that is considerable damage, meaning that flash flooding has caused some damage, and of course it is life-threatening. And then catastrophic damage, which we do have here in the hills of West Virginia, or in the hills of West Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains and even the Blue Ridge Mountains. And out there, that's catastrophic, which a lot of runoff could create some significant issues for folks out that way. So a lot to take in for those folks down that way. But for us, we're not expecting to see anything quite that significant here in the tri-state, but we are definitely looking at a lot of moderate to heavy rain with this band of this warm front here. So this warm front extends right in here. And that's going to kind of push this. And we're also seeing an area of low pressure to our south and west gaining strength. It's pulling in more Gulf moist air. It's going to aid in allowing for us to see a quick dumping of 1, 2, more than 3 inches of rain here into the tri-state area. And before we go any further, I do want to look at the latest Ohio River and various creeks, streams, and river forecasts that I updated about 10 minutes ago. So we do have that. Actually, technically, it'd be 15 minutes ago. I did it right before we went live. So here is the latest as of 5 o'clock for the Ohio River. So this looks at the Maysville, Meldal Dam, Cincinnati, and Markland Lower river gauges along the Ohio River. Now, this is an update from what myself and Chief Meteorologist Steve Horsemeyer showed you yesterday. And that is, we are looking at the potential for minor flooding, officially at least, at Maysville by Wednesday morning, 50.8 feet the crest. Cincinnati, minor flood stage, at 52.5 feet, again by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. And then the Meldal Dam will be near flood stage or at action stage at 50.4 feet, which is pretty darn close to the flood stage at 51 feet. And right now the Markland Lower forecast isn't close to flood stage, but we'll need to keep an eye on that towards the latter half of the week as those numbers could change. So this is for the Ohio River. And something Steve and I were talking about the last few days is a lot of folks want to know about other rivers, other creeks and streams. We can't put them all on one graphic. That's a lot. But we did compile, 5 different creeks and rivers here in the Tri-State area. Areas that I know that are going to be prone to flooding in this situation here. So what we've got here is the Ohio Brush Creek over in Adams County. That forecast is to crest by tomorrow morning at 16.2 feet, which is minor flood stage. Over at the North Fork Licking River in Robertson County near Mount Olivet, the forecast by Monday afternoon is 21.7 feet, which is, of course, minor flood stage. The Licking River at Falmouth, we need to keep an eye on this one because it's going to be at near flood stage, just under that flood stage category by Monday morning at 32.8 feet. The Kentucky River at Lockport, this one we'll need to keep a very close eye on because this does show moderate flooding in the latest forecast here. By Monday evening, the flood stage there will be at 44.4 feet, which is more than 10 feet higher than flood stage. So folks who live along the Kentucky River towards Lockport, which is southern Owen County, going into Carroll County, those areas need to keep a very close eye on this first alert forecast. And in the Eagle Creek over at Glencoe, it is going to be near flood stage or action stage by Sunday evening at 17.6 feet. So all areas we need to monitor. Of course, we're monitoring other creeks, streams, and rivers too. But these are kind of the ones that at least have forecasts attached to them. A lot of them don't have forecasts according to the Ohio River Forecast Center, but they do monitor them, of course. And if they do hit that flood stage, we'll let you know here on Fox 19. So that's already a lot. We haven't even gone into the model data yet. But we will do that very shortly. But first, let's take a deep dive into our Facebook comments and questions. Hopefully they're respectful, and hopefully we stay on subject here too. All right. Gwen says, hi, Ethan, from Rising Sun, Indiana. Hey, good evening to you, Gwen. Paul says, hi, Ethan, from Peebles, Ohio. Got some family down that way there in Adams County. Good evening to you, Paul. All right. Jeff says, crazy how last summer we couldn't get any rain at all, but spring and now we can't get it to stop raining. Well, it's not spring yet, Jeff. Still winter. But, yeah, spring's on the way. And the 14-day forecast does show that. Vicky asks, how do things look for Oxford? Well, we're going to dive into that here in just a second with the forecast here. Not as much rain as areas to our south, but still looking at 1 to 2 inches of rain into portions of Butler County, Vicky. So, yeah, still a lot of heavy rain for you folks, too. Just not quite at the highest risk of flooding. So, compared to areas along the south of the Ohio River. Lori asking about the weather for the 19th and the 25th. Well, we are going to eventually dive into the 14-day forecast, but hopefully, Lori, you can be patient with me. We got a lot of stuff to digest here. Towards the end of 19 at 6, I promise I will show you that 14-day. David, excuse me, asking when is spring? March 20th officially. Mary asks, any storms or severe weather? No. Tonight, if anything, I might hear a rumble of thunder or two, but that's it. We've been talking for days that this is not looking like a severe threat. It looks like a flooding threat, and indeed, that's still the case. We don't have any severe weather in the forecast. The focus, of course, is the flooding risk tonight, and then the winter weather advisory for tomorrow. Jeff asking, is 2 to 3 inches of rain for Greenfield? Yeah, I'll show you the model data here in a moment, but yes, Greenfield could also see the higher end of heavy rain. Look at a couple comments on my Facebook page, and we got to move on here to the model data because I know some of you are anxious or wanting to know about what we can expect. Darla says, hello, Ethan. Really foggy. Visibility isn't great here in Aurora. Yeah, a lot of areas dealing with that reduced visibility. In fact, I saw a lot of locations on the visibility tracker being less than a mile at times. So if you are traveling this evening, be careful for not only the heavy rain, but also the visibility being hard to see through, obviously. Betty says, hello, Ethan. How much snow will be getting in Lawrenceburg, Indiana? I'm assuming you're asking for tomorrow, and if that's the case, we'll dive into that right now. But we got to deal with tonight into tomorrow morning first. But I want to show you the model data of the rain and snow, rainfall amounts, snowfall amounts, wind and visibility, and then we'll pause again and go through the comments. So here is one forecast model. It's doing a fairly decent job right now. I've shown that rain moving in. So by 8 o'clock, everyone's going to see moderate to heavy rain. So again, this is 8 o'clock. Do note some of those areas of yellow, orange, even dark orange here. This is where the heaviest of rain is going to show up, which again, we've been anticipating this for days now of along and south of the Ohio River. We go forward in time here, and you can see after midnight, still moderate to heavy rain. And even some of that heavy rain now beginning to move over into our eastern counties. So the heaviest of rain not only along and south of the Ohio River, but also east of I-71 and portions of south central Ohio. So that's why, Jeff, I'm saying for folks in Highland County could also see 2 to 3 inches of rain, which we'll show you that model data here in a second. But again, this is 1 a.m. Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. 3 a.m., still moderate rain for the majority of the Fox 19 now viewing area. But again, this is 3 a.m. Look off to the north and west, the top left of the screen there. You're beginning to see that changeover from rain to snow. That's the cold front, a very strong cold front. I'm talking a very strong cold front. This thing is going to pack a punch with it. And that's why we've kind of increased the snowfall just a little bit, and I'll explain that here in a second. But also the reason why it's going to be so darn cold next week. Got a lot of cold air to push it over. So here's 4 a.m., still moderate to heavy rain to our south and eastern counties, but the rain will begin to taper off for central and western locations in the tri-state area. Now that being said, it could be a little bit of drizzle and light showers Sunday at 4 a.m. We go into 5, 6 a.m. As that front is passing through, we are going to have a pickup of some moderate rain. It'll be brief, but this is where that energy is. There's a low pressure system that's going to be riding along this cold front. And as it's moving in, as that cold front is passing through, I want you to pay attention to the colors of the blue here. So you see right in here, this is a lighter shade of blue. But right here is a darker shade of blue right along the front. As I told you, this front's going to pack a punch with it. And this is very typical in a system like this, where the first hour or two, as the front is moving through, as the temperatures are dropping, and that precipitation is transitioning from rain to snow, it's going to come down at a pretty good clip. So I would not be surprised to see some moderate snow as meteorologist Jeff Creighton will be in at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, showing you that snow shower activity. Now, that being said, a lot of it's probably going to melt by noon because the ground temperature is just too warm. But if it comes down at a good enough clip, it could stick on grassy surfaces, could bring in a brief slushy roadway. Bridges and overpasses will certainly have the issue of icy spots as air temperatures will fall below freezing. But the main roads, I think the impacts will be limited, and by that I mean if it comes down at a good enough clip, it will be slushy, it will be snow covered, but I do think it's going to melt within an hour or two because, again, the ground temperatures are just so warm. But, okay, here's 6 a.m. We're going to play this into motion. That way you can see when it arrives to the rest of the tri-state area. So here's 7 a.m. moving through Cincinnati Metro. So the majority of the 275 loop will be seeing all snow between 7 and 7:30. Again, as I mentioned, Jeff tomorrow morning will be talking about all that snow. Then we go into 9 a.m. That'll be when it begins to shift over to our eastern counties. So this is 8 a.m. Wilmington, Batavia, Falmouth, already seeing that transition from rain to snow. And again, do note where that front is located, which is right here. You see this all this dark shade of blue right close to that front. But the further west you go, the further left you go, the colors get a little bit lighter. And that's because this cold air is going to cut off that moisture where it's not going to be moderate snow. It'll be more on the ends of light snow, flurries even. For our western counties. But still, scattered snow showers. If you're closer to the front, you'll see more moderate. If you're further away and it gets colder for you, you're looking at more on the lighter end of things. But regardless, still going to be impactful. Go to 9 a.m. Everyone's seeing snow by this point. 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., we are looking at the snow shower activity quickly coming to an end with regards to the moderate band will be out of here by this point. Anything will be light to our eastern counties. But then we go into the afternoon. That'll be kind of, I don't want to say dry completely, but the majority of noticeable snow will be out of here by this point. So the lunch hour tomorrow, cloudy, cold, windy. But the snow shower activity will begin to taper off. This is temporary though, because we go into the afternoon. You're going to begin to see redevelopment of scattered snow showers. And I do want to preface this by saying that this will be light activity. We're not talking about snow squalls right now. The chance is there, but it's very low, mind you. And that's because there may not be enough energy to work with for these snow showers to have snow squalls. But that being said, do note that these snow shower bands do have the indicators of maybe a brief burst of snow with the light shade to dark shade of blue. So we are looking at scattered snow showers on and off through the afternoon and evening of Sunday. These are not moderate bands. Could they bring in a brief dusting or a coat of snow on grassy surfaces or elevated surfaces? I think they will. But this is not going to be as big of an impact as the morning with regards to travel, with regards to accumulations. On the other hand, though, again, this is a lot of information. On the other hand, though, Sunday afternoon, though the accumulation threats are much lower, the chances for visibility reduction will increase a lot because it's going to be windy on Sunday afternoon. Wind gusts close to 40 miles per hour. This will eventually taper off, though, by Sunday night after sunset, and then eventually you're going to see just those clouds break away, and then President's Day morning will be just downright cold. So the questions everyone's been asking me, how much? What are we going to see? We went through that whole timeline process, so now let's get into the amounts. So to begin with the rainfall, though, once the computer cooperates with me here. And what's going to be seen here is a general trend of anywhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain for most. Now, a little bit less than 2 inches of rain, perhaps, to our northwestern counties. So You can see up here towards Fayette, Decatur County, Franklin, Union counties, and maybe close to 2 inches, maybe just under 2 inches of rain. Oxford, I know we had a comment about Oxford earlier, about 2 inches of rain for you folks up that way in northwestern Butler County. But you can see areas to the south of the Ohio River, along and south of the Ohio River, and then east of I-71, closer to 3 inches of rain. In fact, our southern counties, our far southern counties, we could see more than 3 inches of rain, including towards Warsaw, Owenton, Dry Ridge, Falmouth even, Mount Olivet, Maeslick, areas like that could see more than 3 inches from this system of just rain. So that's the rain. Now let's look at the snow. Again, this is nothing major. Some of this will melt. I do want to preface that, but that initial band that comes in Sunday morning, you will see a moderate band of snow with that transition. It won't be long-lived, but it'll be enough to create some issues for Sunday morning travel. So here is that system. Here's Sunday morning, 6 a.m., and then we head into the afternoon hours. And by Sunday night, when the snow is over and out of here, generally speaking, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Now, areas to our south and east will see maybe a little bit under an inch of snow, but areas north of the Ohio River and northwest of the Ohio River, so west of I-71, could see more closer to 2 inches of snow, and locally higher amounts will be possible, but I do think that'll be very conditional and very limited. I don't think that's going to be a huge threat here. Now, I know there's some weather weenies out there on social media claiming that you're going to see 4 or 5 inches of snow. That's for areas north of I-70 still at this point. I don't see that happening right in the Cincinnati metro. Generally, 1 to 2 inches of snow looks to be the case here for Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon combined, some of which you won't even see on the ground because some of it's going to melt once it calms down a little bit after that band moves in Sunday morning. So that is the snowfall. And the other impact, like I mentioned, is going to be the wind on Sunday. And the winds on Sunday, again, will gust close to 40 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and put this into motion here and just jump right on into Sunday morning. Sunday morning, not too bad. Wind gusts maybe close to 25 miles per hour. Sunday midday, a little over 30 miles per hour. Sunday afternoon, close to 40 miles per hour in spots. And then Sunday evening, still breezy. Going into President's Day morning, still a little breezy with gusts close to 25 miles per hour. So, why am I showing you the winds after I just showed you the snow? Well, let's just jump ahead here. So, this is a forecast model of visibility. This model is in conjunction with the one I showed you of the rain and snow. And the winds are going to begin to increase Sunday morning. Again, 25, 30 miles per hour like I just showed you. And look at this. When that band of moderate snow comes in behind that front, or right along that front really, visibility could be reduced down to less than a mile. So again, Sunday morning travel. I said this back on, I think it was Thursday on 19 at noon. There's a potential for some services, church services, that might need a delay or maybe postpone Sunday service because of the timing, the unfortunate timing of this frontal system that's going to bring in the dramatic changeover from the very heavy rain that we're seeing tonight over to snow, and these snow showers could be coming at a good clip. It's brief. It's not going to last for several hours. This is going to be kind of on the onset of an hour, maybe 2, of the snow showers. That's going to produce the majority of the accumulations that we see on Sunday. And again, visibility will be reduced. We go into Sunday mid-morning. With things drier, air comes in. The snow shower activity does wane a little bit for the lunch hour of Sunday. So not bad. However, as I mentioned, those snow showers that do redevelop in the afternoon, though they're light, It'll be windy with gusts close to 40 miles per hour, and you're going to have these little bands of snow shower activity that will bring in with it these brief reductions in visibility. Remember I showed you there was that quick color changeover from the light blue to dark blue? Well, this model's picking up on that, of saying, hey, though the snow showers aren't going to last very long, might come down at a good clip, might bring in a brief dusting. It will reduce visibility because you see here some of those areas of yellow and orange on the onset of poor visibility conditions here. So we're dealing with that all Sunday afternoon, and it will be scattered. So the majority of the day, you may not see much of anything, but these snow showers, when they move in, come in a good clip, and then they kind of cause some issues with your travel Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. By Sunday night, though, this will be out of here, and we're just talking about cold air for President's Day morning. And that'll be the last graphic I show before we look at the comments and questions, and then we'll dive into the extended forecast, show you the 7-day, 14-day, a quick recap of this first alert weather day, and then we'll go ahead and close things off for 19atSIX. So tonight, wind chill is not a huge issue, but we go into Sunday morning. This is 10 a.m. The wind gusts could get up to 25, 30 miles per hour, and wind chills will be in the teens. Again, this is Sunday morning, 10 a.m. We go into Sunday afternoon. Not much change here. Wind chills still in the teens, maybe low 20s. This is by tomorrow. It's 19atSIX. Talk about brutally cold air and snowfall amounts and rainfall amounts and flooding and stuff like that. And then Sunday night, once we conclude the Fox 19 News at 11, wind chills will begin to fall in the single digits in spots. And then by President's Day morning, 6 a.m., waking up with meteorologist Catherine Bodak, and wind chills will be near zero. Perhaps even a few spots below zero, especially to our northern locations from Connorsville, Batesville, Oxford, Middletown, Lebanon, Wilmington. Could see wind chills below zero by Monday morning. And so I'll need to talk with Steve and Catherine on whether or not we need to issue a first alert weather day for Monday morning, just because of the fact that it's going to be so darn cold in the tri-state area. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. A lot of impacts here in just such a short time frame. And I will go ahead and, before we dive into the comments, I do want to give you an update. You've probably seen it on the top of the screen if you're watching Fox 19 college basketball. I know that's probably a little annoying for some, but we have an obligation to provide information to folks who need to know this, especially areas to our south who may not have social media or the internet. They maybe just have TV and they could see that, they get that information up there. It's important. In fact, I think it's important because I grew up in a rural area. Flooding could be a very serious thing in some of these rural spots where there's a lot of hills and creeks and streams. But aside from that, soapbox there, flood watch is going to continue until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few flood warnings by tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow early afternoon too. So that could be something you might also see on the air on Fox 19 and on the First Alert Weather app. So we also not only have that, but we also have a winter weather advisory in effect for these counties here, shaded in purple, which includes the bulk of southeast Indiana, includes much of northern Kentucky, and in far southwestern Ohio, as well as Clinton County. And this is for the snowfall amounts. If you read the text, if you are see this on the app and see, it says 2 to 4 inches of snow. Those amounts, I think, are pretty much focused for further up north, because this is kind of a large swath of winter weather advisories. I think we're seeing more on the 1 to 3 inch scale with this. And they issued this because travel. You're going to have icy spots because if the winds don't dry out the roadways, all that water that sits on the road with temperatures dramatically falling down in the 20s, going to create some icy spots. In addition, the snow band that moves through with that front, going to come down a good enough clip, could be a few slushy roadways too. And wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, blowing snow can't be ruled out with those reduced visibilities. And the snow accumulations, though minor, could get up to 3 inches possible to our northern and northwestern counties here. So that is the winter weather advisory that is also in effect. Take a pause real quick. I'll go ahead and put up behind me the excessive rainfall outlook for tonight, because you don't see moderate risk very often over the tri-state area. So at this point, we'll take a pause, look at those Facebook comments and questions, and then we'll move on to the extended forecast. Okay. David said, shouldn't have to worry about drought till mid-August. Yeah, drought's not a concern right now. Daryl says, let it rain. I know a lot of folks like rain, but this is a lot of rain in a short period of time. Garnett says, Beasley Fork Creek runs right behind my house. It has been rising slowly all day. Anxious to see how it looks in the morning. Hopefully, you have ways to receive alerts, Garnett. David says, you keep saying the ground is too warm. Rising sun, we still have patchy snow on the ground in several locations. I'm referring to road temperatures. So I've been checking road temperatures all over the tri-state area, and road temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s, even low 40s at this point now, considering the temperatures today have been rising in the 40s and with all that saturation. So the ground is too warm for it to stick for a long duration. I mean, you saw the snow that happened on Tuesday. It did come out a good clip. By Wednesday morning, it was still there. But then by the afternoon and evening, when the rain came through, it melted almost all of it away. So that's my point, is that it's not going to stick on the ground for days on end. Like I said, the snow that comes in first thing Sunday morning, it will come down at a good enough clip to where it will stick. That's what I was trying to say. But as the day progresses, the roadways, the road temperatures are going to be warm overnight, and it's going to allow for it to melt. David. Mike says, thanks for the update, of course. Jeff says, I don't live close to creeks or anything, which Paint Creek would be up your way. So I should just be okay. Hope everyone else is safe tonight and tomorrow. Darla says, even though my backyard isn't flat, I have streams of standing water. Will it freeze and become icy? Yeah, by Sunday, I would say Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, you're going to begin to see some of the standing water that is on your yard or sidewalks, things like that, will begin to start to freeze. And like I said, icy spots will be possible on the roadways. I would say more on the onset of Sunday evening, Sunday night, because some of the winds on Sunday will help dry out some of those area roadways, which will be a positive with those winds. Denise says, thank you. It's ready for the warmer weather. We'll dive into that here in the extended forecast coming up. Switch over to my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. Okay. Oh. Kathy says hi. Joshua asked about how much snow in Butler County. Generally 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe locally higher towards maybe Oxford at times. Molly says, hello, Ethan. This morning was a little ice, rain, and then all-day rain. As we said, to be a light wintry mix briefly. And then, yeah, that light rain, fog this afternoon. And now we're dealing with the rain. All right, a lot of these questions are about snow. Hopefully you got that answer when you were watching earlier. Again, generally 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe locally up to 3 inches of snow possible. Mildred. Hey, a good friend of mine, Mildred. Nice seeing you. She was a former digital content producer on the weekends. Haven't seen you in a long time, Mildred. Been meaning to text you, but life's been busy lately here at Fox 19, and just even outside of work, things have been kind of chaotic for me. But thank you, Mildred, for chiming in. Says, love the new look. Thank you. And appreciates the update. Thank you, Mildred. Betty says, do you think there will be school closings or delays for Monday? Well, yeah, I think there's a possibility of that with the cold air and maybe some lingering impacts from either the heavy rain or maybe snow that does decide to stick in some spots. So I would say if you're wanting to know more about school delays and cancellations, I can't speak for school administrators. I would be more prepped for delays as opposed to cancellations. But it's also President's Day, so a lot of schools won't be in session. But those that are, maybe the potential for a delay. Clarine, my Meemaw, says, hello, Ethan. When's it going to be warming up? Not until next weekend, into the following week, which we'll dive into that here in a moment. And then, Lou Jean, do you think it's going to be bad Monday in Lewis County? So it's going to be dry for everybody by then, Lou Jean, but the flooding impacts will probably linger. Like I showed on the Ohio River forecast, Maysville forecast crest for flooding at the Ohio River is not going to be until, I believe it was Wednesday morning. So, yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Lewis County could very well still be dealing with lingering impacts of flooding. It's just a matter of how much rain and where it falls and all the different tributaries to the Ohio River, what those amounts are like, and of course we'll follow up with that here at Fox 19 as we need to. And then Amy says, I'm done with winter. Yes, a lot of folks feeling that sentiment as well. Okay, we caught up with the comments, so now let's go ahead and move into the extended forecast and then dive into the 7-day and 14-day. And thank you for those of you staying with me on all this because, again, a lot of stuff happening. All right. So while this loads, okay. Well, I'm waiting for it to load. Here we are. So this is a good forecast model, I trust, and it shows kind of what I just showed you. Heavy rain in tonight, and that quick changeover from rain to snow. And this model is doing the same thing like I mentioned. It's a very classic setup when you have that low riding along the front as it moves off and kind of ejects towards the Great Lakes. You have this energy here. You got some frontogenesis right on the back side of this, and that cold air advection. Going into some jargon here, but you're going to have this little band of moderate snow. Again, it's brief. It's not going to last for a long time, but it's going to be enough to create those issues for Sunday morning. And as we go through the day, lighter snow shower activity, a brief break around the lunch hour, and then those light scattered snow showers Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And then President's Day Monday looks dry, mostly cloudy. Tuesday looks dry for the bulk of the day, but Tuesday evening, I can't rule out a flurry, but most of Tuesday does look dry at this point. And then we're keeping an eye on Wednesday. So if you got plans Wednesday, you want to stay tuned because the 19th, I know we had a comment earlier. In fact, let me double check who it was real quick. I can say their name. That way, if they're still watching, Lori, asking about the 19th as well as the 25th. So Lori, 19th. You're going to want to pay attention to this forecast. Might be a first alert weather day because we are looking at snow shower activity moving into the tri-state. Now, this is going to be a scenario where, just like every other system in the wintertime, we got to watch for the timing and the location of the low. And in this case, right now, the more moderate to high impacts with the snow looks to stay to our south, along and south of I-64, which has been kind of a recurring theme with some of these systems. However, I do think Wednesday we could be looking at some accumulating snow because just like how it was on Tuesday, we told you about this if you watched me last week on a 19atSIX, there was that round 2 that moved in Tuesday evening. I think this has another potential to set up similar to that Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Again, you can see here the darker shades of blue trying to push their way north. And then we go into Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, still some lingering snow showers. And then by Thursday, maybe a flurry or two. But then that's it. And then we're dry for the rest of the week. And then we're looking dry until Monday, February 24th. Looking at maybe a wintry mix. Of course, this far out, the temperature is going to mean everything here at this case. But right now, a safe bet, just a wintry mix. But it does look like the majority of it will be rain. Again, this is the 24th of February. And then on the 25th, we are looking at some rain showers perhaps moving in by then, which we'll show you that now in our 7-day and 14-day forecast. So here it is. Once it loads, once it loads. There we go. There's the 7-day forecast. So again, temperatures are going to fall through the day on Sunday. Sunday morning, temperatures around 36, down to 28 by the afternoon and evening. Snow showers, windy. Moderate band of snow, be very limited in the morning on the onset of 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. After that, it's going to be more on the ends of light snow. And then light scattered snow showers in the afternoon. Temperatures down to 28 and windy. Then Monday morning for President's Day, 14 degrees and a high of only 25, mostly cloudy. Tuesday's dry for the bulk of the day, cloudy skies with a few evening flurries and a high of 23. Wednesday, we're keeping an eye on. Wednesday could be a first alert weather day because we are looking at the potential for accumulating snow. That continues to increase in the data. Morning low of 16, a high of 22. And then Thursday, maybe a chance of flurries, colder. Morning low of 12 and a high of 21. Friday morning, 9, eventually rising up to 29 under mostly cloudy skies. And then Saturday, partly cloudy and a high of 33 degrees. So at the top of 19 at 6, I did mention that outside of tonight, obviously, into Sunday morning, and then by next Saturday, the 7-day forecast is below freezing. So a frigid air mass here in the tri-state area for basically Sunday morning all the way until Saturday afternoon. Very cold air here into the tri-state area. That is your 7-day forecast. Now, let's go beyond the 7-day forecast. As you can see, warmer weather. Yes, it's finally coming. It's finally going to be here. And we're looking at the chances for some rain, maybe some wintry mix. Again, how this far out, you see the temperatures here are close to freezing, so it's going to give the opportunity for maybe a little bit of potential for snow, sleet, freezing rain mixing in, but predominantly this does look like this will just be rain events. But I will say not every day looks wet. Some days look dry, others look obviously wet. So Tuesday, Loria asked about the 19th as well as the 25th. 25th right now, there are going to be some chances for rain, but it does look milder. 45 degrees for the high. And then by March 1st, meteorological spring, not technically actual spring. Spring is March 20th, but meteorologists, we do seasons by months. March 1st, feeling more like spring, 49 degrees and a chance of rain here in the tri-state. So here's the 7-day plus showing you all 14 days, the highs and lows and everything in between. And as you can see, obviously, it's a tale of two different air masses. The first week is going to be cold, or I should say the final week take that back. This next week coming up is going to be very cold, well below normal. Then we go into the final days of February into the beginning of March. We are getting closer and closer to normal. In fact, by March 1st, we will be just above normal for both the highs and the lows. So that is your 7-day plus. So the takeaways, though, with regards to the first alert weather days here, is we've got that heavy rain overnight tonight, mainly on the scale of 2 to 3 inches, but though more than 3 inches of rain will be possible for our southern counties. Rain changes to snow. Most of the tri-state less than 2 inches of snow. However, areas to our north and west and northern counties could see potentially up to 3 inches of snow. And it'll also be blustery and cold. Wind chills will be in the teens for the bulk of the day Sunday, and then wind chills will be in the single digits close to 0 by President's Day morning. So that is kind of the final wrap up here of this first alert weather day. All right, Lori says, thank you for the dates. Appreciate it, of course. That's the only comment we have on the Fox 19 Facebook page. Take a look at my Facebook page real quick at Ethan Emery WX. Got a couple more comments. Oh, Harvey asked, what's the midweek event look like? Is this even a thing for us? Yeah. That system, again, could be a first alert weather day for us because we are looking at the potential for accumulating snow. it has been trending higher, I will admit, the last 24 hours or so. I've been a little dismissive of it because the trends were kind of pushing it further south, but now it's kind of behaving very similarly to how Tuesday was. So we need to keep an eye on it. It does have the potential to bring us some accumulating snow. Does not look major, does not look like a winter storm for us, but it does look like it could bring maybe a couple inches of snow. But that far out, a lot can change, and we will let you know as we get closer. But our main focus is tonight as well as tomorrow with the heavy rain as well as the snow moving in Sunday. And I did see a comment on my Facebook page about how much snow. Generally 1 to 2 inches of snow. Locally, higher amounts up to 3 inches will be possible here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. If you live north of the Fox 19 Now viewing area, maybe you live, or maybe you have friends that live in Preble County, Montgomery County, Greene County, Jefferson County in Ohio, or Rush County, I believe it's Rush County in Indiana, they might see 3 to maybe 4 inches of snow locally. But for us, I don't think we're going to see more than 3 inches of snow. I think we're a little bit limited on that, and a lot of it's going to melt as the day progresses, because even though it's going to be below freezing in the air temperature, the ground temperature is still going to be above freezing. So some of that will melt. It's just how it goes. But that snow that does move in Sunday morning will be coming down at a good enough clip where it will likely stick and stay for a little bit before it does eventually overcome, or doesn't overcome, I should say, will submit to the warmer ground temperatures. Warm is relatively speaking, again, above freezing. So, I believe that's all the comments and questions we've got here. Oh! Got a couple new comments. Anjuri, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Says, well, this asthma isn't going anywhere, I see. Well, I apologize. Hopefully, you can be indoors where it's not going to be too hard on your lungs. Peggy says the Ohio River is ready to flood already. Yeah, Peggy, the beginning of this, I did show the forecast for the Ohio River, and here is the latest. I will go ahead and put that up full screen for you. That way you can see those amounts, Peggy. And Zeke asking, will this rain to snow make it to Galveston? Yes. I don't know the amounts down there. It does look to be a little bit lighter in comparison to what we're seeing here in Cincinnati and further to the west and north. So for, Galveston. Almost, I don't know why I was thinking Gal Police. Galveston. Zeke, Galveston where? I'm not familiar with that, if that's in our viewing area. Galveston, Kentucky. Oh, Floyd County. Yeah, you'll see that rain change over to snow too, but the amounts down there may not be as much. Yeah, so it kind of falls along with what I was thinking. Yeah, Floyd County is outside of our viewing area. The fine folks over at WKYT in Lexington and Wave 3 in Louisville could help you answer that question for you a little bit better than I can, because Floyd County is just outside of our viewing area. And finally, the last question I'm going to answer, Jess asking, any severe storms tonight? No. Just potential for flooding rainfall. So I have been mentioning that you want to have ways to receive alerts, and that is because of the potential for flash flooding. It does exist here overnight tonight into our Sunday morning. So again, important to have ways to receive alerts because that potential for flash flooding exists mainly along and south of the Ohio River. Maybe our eastern counties could also see that, but primarily focused on our southern counties for that risk of flash flooding here tonight. Already looking at moderate rainfall moving in. We'll take one last look at radar here. As you can see, all that yellow, orange, even red showing up is that moderate to heavy rain there in central and northern Kentucky. Moving into folks along the Ohio River. So something we'll keep a close eye on, of course, this evening and tonight. We've got you covered anytime, anywhere on the Fox 19 First Alert Weather app, as well as on fox19.com/weather and on the Fox 19 24/7 weather streaming channel. Thank you all so much for joining us here on this extended version of our 19 at 6 Saturday evening weather show. We do this every weekend night. And of course, we got you covered tonight after the basketball game right here on Fox 19. And if you missed that, of course, we're going to have updates beginning at 7 a.m. with meteorologist Jeff Creighton on that rain change over to snow. And then I'll be back here tomorrow, 19 at 6 on Sunday, talking about kind of the recap of the rainfall amounts we've seen, as well as any kind of flood reports, snowfall reports, and also looking at a more unsettled pattern next week with those snow chances on Wednesday, and of course the brutally cold air that's going to be with us next week as well. Don't want to miss that. And of course, we got you always covered right here on Fox 19. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful and dry Saturday evening.